Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Power Rankings. This time it's for the UPDL Season 4. That's right, number 4, otherwise known as Cuatro, also known as... Actually, no, I don't know that many languages, so I'm gonna stick to that one. But yeah, I'm finally back after what was it, 2-month hiatus, 3-month hiatus? Who knows? Who cares? Anyways. Yeah, hopefully this time I'll be a little bit more consistent with the uploads. The answer is probably no, by the way. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're gonna be doing power rankings. Have my little have my little sheet here, with all the other categories and such. But this is gonna be a little bit different, and it's gonna be a lot shorter. Spoiler alert: I did already rank everything in advance, for example, and also. I'm not going to be going very in-depth into every single team. Like, I'm not going to be like, the spot throw specifically against, Calm Mind and all this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna go into like all possible sets for every single bond, because frankly, that's part of why the PRs took 9 hours, and turns out I don't like recording 9-hour long videos. So yeah, I trust you guys are able to figure out what sets you can make from your team of your own mons. So yeah, that being said, if you want any advice, I'm willing to help, unless we're fighting that week, because spoilers, I'm also in the draft league now. Thought it was finally time to join. I know we got some strong competitors. I honestly feel like I don't have a... I'm starting to brag a little bit, aren't I? Yeah, let's forget about that whole thread. But yeah, let's see here. I'll go over the categories. You're not going to see much of this page. I'm just showing you that this page does exist, and this is how I ranked the teams. But yeah, I'll talk about the categories in case you don't know how this works already by now, which some of you don't because you're new. So yeah, yeah. So the first category I rank is type variants, and this is just a weird category name, but it basically just means. Like, how some draft leagues, they, like, rank teams by, like, cores? Like, defensive cores? Like, Fire, Water, Grass core. Fighting, Psychic, Dark. That's not actually a real one. A Steel, Fairy, Dragon. That's a real one. Yeah, so, that's part of it. But also, more so than that, and, like, the cores aren't actually that important. I'm just looking at, defensively speaking, do you have types that cover, like, most scenarios? Like, for example, like... Basically just like every single attacking type in the game, and plus like some certain special exceptions, like like freeze dry, specifically hits water types super effectively, right? As well as being a nice move. So I look at does your team have certain resist that, and besides also basic 18 types and other things too. I also look for immunities. You don't have to have every single immunity in the game, but like. For example, an electric immunity is basically necessary, I would say, for any single draft league. Also, a ground immunity is really nice and almost necessary. It is necessary, but yeah. So I look for that as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, each category is ranked from 1 to 10. 1 is worst, 10 is best. Usually, you're never gonna see how anyone get a 1. In fact, no one got a 1. The lowest score I think was a 3. For context. Anyways. Next up, we got hazards. So this not only includes, hazards. So, do you have stealth rock? Do you have spikes? Anything along those lines. And then also includes hazard removal. I just, grouped into one category because I felt giving 2 categories to just hazards was a little bit much. I don't know. To this day, I still question that decision that I made to combine them into one. But anyways, yeah, half the category is having the hazards, half the categories having removal. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Next up is pivoting. Oh yeah, before I move on to pivoting, actually. Hazards, I'm not only looking for if you have these hazards, because like, not every team needs like sticky whips, and there's only like 3 fully evolved sticky whip users in this game currently. I'm not just looking for that. I'm looking for like, do you have good setters? And do you have multiple of them? Not necessarily for like spikes and T-spikes, you don't need to have multiple of those, but like for rock specifically, you usually want to have at least 2 because you don't want to have only one mon that does it, because then, you know, if your opponent doesn't see you not bring that Pokemon, they're like, oh, no rocks, right? So you gotta have more variety into your rock setting, and maybe your spike setting. Not so much T-spikes, you know. But yeah, you know, that's kind of the deal I'm looking with for that part. And then the hazard removal, just do you have hazard removal? I do include magic bounce in that category as well. So, you know, you have magic bouncer, that helps you. And yeah, that's about it. Pivoting, really just, you know, do you have mons that can generate momentum? So, you know, 90% of the time it's going to be you have U-turn, you have Volt Switch. Baton Pass also works as well. But you know, your Pokemon has to be a pretty good Baton Passer, and keep in mind, Baton Pass is only allowed in the context of dry passing. So you're not allowed to set up your own stat and then pass afterwards. For example, like if your opponent were to use like Swagger on you, you Baton Pass on the turn. That's not, you know, that's not your fault. Like you didn't set up the stat, so you're fine to Baton Pass in that scenario. But like if you set up your own Calm Mind and then Baton Pass, that's not okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you can't pass subs either. Well, that's part of the dry part. But anyways, moving on. Speed tiers. Yeah, you know, you gotta have the fast mons, you gotta have the slow mons, you gotta have the medium mons, and you know, I just want to see like a good diverse range. Yeah, that's about it. Usually, it's hard to get anything below like a 6 in this one. If you're like a 6 and below, you've severely fucked up somewhere. And no offense to some of you did fuck up somewhere. Anyway, bulk, pretty simple. You know, is your team bulky? Like, this is mainly focusing on like, do you have like reliable recovery? Do you have wish? Do you have there's no aromatherapy in this game anymore, and I think Heal Bell is exclusive to the Chansey line. So yeah, fun stuff there. But yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. It's a bulky. Do you have fat defense stats, fat spit F stats, fat HP? You know, do you have good reliable recovery, all that type of stuff? You know. And then we have 3 whole categories dedicated to offense. So you know, if you have a good offensive team, you know, you'll make up for any shortcomings you have in here, maybe. Although cleaners kind of link to speed tiers, but you know, we'll get into that when we get there. But yeah, first up, setup. Do you have setup mons? You know, Dragon Dance, Swords Dance, Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, even Agility, Shell Smash, Quiver Dance. Do you have those? If you do, you're good. Wall Breakers. These are mons that can just naturally break walls without, and this is usually, I don't really include this a setup in with this Wall Breaker set. So usually like choice mons that like really like running choice band or choice specs. So for example, like, not that either of these mons are in the league, but Qianpao, really good wall breaker with choice band. Chiyu recently got banned, but also really good breaking with specs, right? So like those are what kind of go into this category here. And then cleaners, again, this isn't part of setup, so this is a separate thing. But like Pokemon that are either naturally fast, or they like use like a choice scarf or something like that, and they can, you know, with that speed, they're able to like clean up weakened teams. So like, you know, as long as what's a good example? Well, in the past generation, I have a good example. So Scarf Kartana is a great example of a cleaner in my eyes, because, you know, as long as, you know, your enemy's Corviknight is like pretty low, like you can like sweep through teams very easily with Leaf Blade or something like that. I don't know, but like it's something along those lines. Yeah, I think that's about it for the explanations. So yeah, we are gonna go from last to first place. This is not in order, by the way. I wanted to keep the surprise for a little bit. I could order them actually. Well, then I have to pause the video and then like edit it. Nah, forget about it. We're gonna go in. So yeah. Oh yeah, those are my teams, by the way, for the draft league. If you guys want to peek? Oh my god, look at those stats. Anyways, we're gonna start from last to first. Unfortunately, you know, there's always a last place, and yeah. But before I go into, you know, last place, and before I know I'm gonna say a lot of like mean things, because, you know, I'm just a mean person. But, you know, before we go in, I truly believe that every single team here this season was drafted decently well, at the very minimum. I think if you have enough player skill, and keep in mind player skill is not affected into this. If so, like, certain people would just be at the top regardless. But if you have enough player skill, you'll be able to win the league. I promise. And now that being said, there's always a last place. And last place happens to be... no, just kidding. It's up here. Haha. The Dayton Dugons. So, yeah. So, the Dayton Dugons, you know, I think they drafted a pretty decent team here. Again, as I said before, you know, not every I think every team can win the league. There's some fantastic mons on here, and it's mostly like an offense-based team. Just ignore the Blissey, because you know you got your nice setup mons with like Vivillon. You have Lucario as well, Salamence. Yeah, but like overall, like setup on here is very, very good. Like you have a lot of good setup mons here. Poltergeist Shell Smash is amazing. Too bad I didn't we banned Terras, so you know I can't run like Terra fighting or whatever. But yeah, Iron Thorns also has Dragon Dance as well. So yeah, this team is very, very heavy on the setup, and you know. If you can work with that, you can work with that. Yeah, where this team kind of struggles. First things first, it does not have good hazard control. If you'll know, I'm pretty sure like they're okay. Yeah, okay. So Iron Thorns gets it gets Stealth Rock, it gets Spikes. Okay. So you know Iron Thorns gets Stealth Rock and Spikes. Sure, right. But that's like the only one besides Heracross who else gets Spikes. Yeah, you only have one rocker on your team. It's pretty, it's pretty bad. And then couple that with the fact that this team has no removal whatsoever. If a hazard gets up on their side, yeah, this isn't get defog anymore because of this generational shift. If a hazard gets up on their side, there is nothing they can do about it. And that, you know, you don't want to run boots on every single bond. So that chip is going to be really important in games. Yeah, I mean, and also, again, the one rocker, that's really bad. You don't want only one rocker. Let's see what else I can talk about. The pivoting is a little bit weird here as well. It is mostly reliant on baton passing. Thankfully for him, Leafeon and all the evolutions get baton pass, so you know he does have that potential passing here. And I think baton pass of Vaporeon is not terrible because you can pass wishes pretty easily. But you know, like baton pass on Leafeon, you're not going to use that. Also on Iron Thorns, if you're running a defensive Iron Thorns, maybe, but you know, Electric Rock, it's kind of hard to run a defensive set with this type of typing, even with your like decent bulk. And yeah, like other than that, there's not a lot of pivoting going on around here either. Yeah, wall breaking wise, you know, it's okay. You have Heracross obviously is a big one. You know, Guts Flame Orb, it's always a fun thing to use. You could run like Banded Iron Thorns. Banded Iron Thorns, yeah, actually Banded Iron Thorns could be pretty good. Maybe Banded Mans, I don't know. Yeah, but another thing that this team kind of struggles with is speed tiers. If you have noticed, nothing on this team is above base 100, and so if you guys remember what I was talking about with some of you fucked up, this is one of them. So, you know, not having a lot of fast... Well, okay, let me preface this. There aren't a lot of mons that are very fast in this league relative to the past generation because, you know, we lost a lot of mons that were decently fast. But that doesn't excuse that you didn't get any. Didn't get any, like, mons above base 100. Because, like, you know, there's a lot of mons faster than base 100 still in the league. And, you know, that means you have to rely on Scarfers in order to outspeed things or priority. And, you know, you have, like, Extreme Speed Lucario, which is great, but that's your only priority user, so... At least, only notable one. So, yeah. Overall, this is the what I thought to be the weakest team on here in this league. Yeah. How fast am I going? 14 minutes. Oh my god, this might be finished before we get like past 2 hours. Look at that. Anyways, next up in second to last, 13th place. There are 14 people, so yeah, 13th place. Where am I going? Is it me? Is it me? No, it's not me. Or is it me? Who knows? Oh my god, I'm just gonna go do it. Okay. Next up, we got the Remscheider Rattatas. And this one kind of surprised me at first because, you know, this guy's got a guard shop, he's got Annihilate, like, Mousehole. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that this team is second worst. But, yeah. For the record, these categories are ranked by... I don't necessarily agree with these rankings once I've made them. As some of you know that already. But... yeah, I stick with the rankings. I was heavily considering adding a new category called Would I Use that also like actually put my opinion into it, and so that would just be a 1 to 10 category on the side here. But I decided against it. But I'm telling you right now that I disagree with the rankings at least a little bit. I don't think this is necessarily second worst, but this is what the numbers came up with. So yeah, you know. Anyways, so what can I say about this team? Again, like the Dayton Dugons, we got a lot of good setup here. So, you know, Swords Dance Garchomp is a classic. Drain, Bulk Up Taunt, Drain Punch, Rage Fist, Annihilate is literally got banned. So, you know, that's great for you. Calm Mind Hatterene's great. Dragon Dance Gyarados is a staple. You know, Tidy Up Mousehole. I mean, this is the new Dragon Dance Gyarados in some sense. And, you know, Swords Dance, Toxicrow, Nasty Plot, Raichu, Belly Drum, Ice. Like, literally everything on this team can set up, including the Klefki. So, you know, and it's not like they're all bad setup. They're all pretty decent setup too. So, like, even the Klefki, surprisingly, yeah, you know, as long as it, yeah, it kept training kiss, yeah. Iron Defense, Calm Mind, I can't spell. Yeah. So this is, if you don't know, this was actually a set that Magirna ran in Generation 8 OU. Like once it got released into the game with Isle of Armor, I think that's when it came in. But yeah, it used to run this, and it got banned. It was crazy. And Klefki got the same shit, except, you know, it has much worse stats, so, you know, it doesn't do it as good as Magirna does, but, you know, it still works. But yeah, anyways, like, seriously, like, every single bot on this team can set up in some shape or capacity, and that makes it very, very threatening offense-wise. What else? The bulk is... Wait, why did I get this thing? Actually, the bulk is not that great on this team. Hold on. Oh, wait. Okay. No, I was looking at the wrong category. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. What else can I talk about? The speed tiers are nice. You know, you got base 102, right? That's not bad. And you got like Mousehole is like base 111. Raichu's base 110. So, you know, we're past the base 100 problems that Dayton Dugons had. That being said, there's not something that's like especially fast on this team, like just naturally. So, you know, the team did lose points in that regard, but, you know, it's still pretty solid. It's kind of what I expected from this season. So, you know, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's about it. Well, I mean, there's more positives, I guess, but like I'm not gonna get into it too because it's not super in depth. But yeah. So let's talk about the negatives. Bulk wise, as I mentioned before, it's not amazing. I don't know if any of these. I don't think any of these mons gets reliable recovery, except maybe Hatterene. I have a feeling this thing gets Wish. It gets Healing Wish. No, that doesn't really count because you have to kill yourself to do that. But yeah, this team relies on like these two, like Annihilate and Hatterene. You know, they have Drain Punch and Draining Kiss respectively. So, you know, they can rely on that in order to get health. But like other than that, like, you know, nothing here really has reliable recovery. And mons aren't particularly bulky. Like, they're decently bulky. But like, you know, no reliable recovery means it's really hard to stay in during a game. Like, you know, if I hit something, that thing most likely isn't gonna have either gonna have that amount of health or less unless they have leftovers. So, you know, that's pretty bad. Yeah, so yeah, so there's that. Wall breakers, again, like, yeah, wall breakers, there's not a lot of wall breakers on this team. It requires setup in order to do. So, you know, you can't just immediately come in and click a move and, like, expect to do big damage. Like, that's not how this team is going to be able to function. Like, I guess you can run like Banded Chomp and stuff like that, but like Guard Chomp doesn't run Band for a multitude of reasons. Ground Dragon Stab is just like too good to abuse. Like when you're not choice locked. When you are choice locked, it's a lot more abusable. And just let's just forget about like Gen 4 Guard Chomp maneuvers, right? Like no one knows about that, right? And anyone who watched BKC knows that. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I personally am of the opinion that Guard Chomp really likes running Sword Stance, or just not choice in general. I could see Scarf Chomp, just because it's base 100, slightly above base 100 speed tier. Like Banded, I think that's a set that's kind of fallen off, and it hasn't been really good for a couple generations now. At least compared to other Guard Chomp sets. Annihilate, you might think, Fighting Ghost is really nice stab, right? It's unresisted in the entire tier. And then you look at Annihilate stuff, and then you realize that, unless it's taking unless it's taking a lot of hits, Rage Fist is base 50 power, Shadow Claw is base 70, and that's its best stab consistently for Ghost. And yeah, now it's just a fighting type basically in the role of like running choice band, because if you're running choice band, you're probably not going to be running a lot of bulk, and so you're not going to be taking a lot of hits, so there's like not much point of running Rage Fist, and Shadow Claw is not great. Like for example, I'm pretty sure my Dragon Ball Dragon Ball, which is like not super bulky, lives Shadow Claw pretty easily. So not banded maybe, but like like not boosted, yeah, for sure it takes it for days. So yeah, again, like this requires setup. Hatterene does have a really good special attack stat, and it does have a decent coverage, so I guess you could try to run this as a Specs mod. I've never tried it, but I think a better set for Hatterene is Calm Mind. Like all these mons wouldn't want to run like a choice item. Even Mousehold. Mousehold is like one of the few that I can consider a wall breaker though, because Population Bomb is just absolutely ridiculous in conjunction with Technician and with Wide Limbs. Like like this is basically a base 300 move. No, it's a base base 450 move after stab, right? Yeah, is that how it works? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If you get all 10 hits, and that's ridiculous. Well, that stat is base 300, right? Because 20 times 10 times 1.5. Yeah. That's the base 300, and then with stab 450. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm not terrible at math. Yeah, base 450 with after stab, like even against resisted hits, that's base 225 power. Think about that. That's like usually how much a super effective hit would do. Stab like super effective Earthquake. That's base 200 power. This is still stronger. Like it's ridiculous. Now, Mousehold has a lot of issues, in terms of like, it's a multi hitting machine, aka you stick your Rocky Helmet on this thing against this thing, and it's gonna die. But still cool. And it gets new Dragon Dance, which also clears hazards. Why does this move exist? It's a crazy moving concept. Like it's a free Dragon Dance, and then you also get rid of hazards and subs. Like okay, sure. Yeah. But yeah, seriously, like this team, back to the main point. Wall breaking, it's not there. It's not there at all. Not really, at least. At least every single mon would rather run a different set. So yeah. Is there anything else I want to talk about? No, I don't think I will. Alright, next up, we are moving on to 12th place. And this might be a surprising pick, because currently they are doing very, very well. In fact, they are second on the leaderboards, and that is the Skeb Glaceons. Yes, I am putting them at 12th. Hot take. I'm just saying. But as I said, as long as you have the skill, any team can win the league. So I feel justified in this. But yeah, there's a couple things that make this team really, really bad. Maybe not really, really bad, but yeah. So this is the only team who didn't score above an 8 or above in type variance. This team scored at a 6, which, if you know how I usually do type variance, if you like pass my basic check, you get a 10. and when I say this team didn't pass a basic check, I mean it really didn't pass the basic check. I will give you some examples. So there's no electric immunity on this team. So there's no ground type, there's no mon with Volt Absorb, there's none of that. That's pretty bad. But you know, some other teams had that issue too. This team also doesn't have a rock resist. You know, there's not a lot of bonds that run rock moves. You know, it's kind of whatever maybe. This team also doesn't have a flying resist. You know, that's not great. You know, but, you know, there's not a lot of flying types. This team also does not have a dragon resist. And considering there's a lot of pseudo legendary that are still around, yeah, that's not great. That's not a great look. So yeah, there's a lot of types that literally you could just click for free against this team and there is nothing they can do about it. Like, if I had like, for example, Denver Diglett has a Flamigo. If I had a Flamigo, I just, you know, scarf it and I click Brave Bird. Like, I mean, yeah, he has Dondozo. Like, the Glaceons have Dondozo and stuff. And, you know, there are things that, like, you know, they can take the Brave Bird and they can take this off, but like, there's no resist. It's very hard for them to just, you know, sponge hits when, you know, you don't have any resist to these types. So yeah, thankfully for them, they have like the physical and special wall, but that's not factored in the type variants anyway. So, you know, yeah. So that's not great. Let's see, what else do we have here? Hazards. Okay, I have some notes. You know, you got a couple hazard mons. You know, South Rock here. Let's see. You got Rabbit Spin here, right? As well. Chansey gets rocks. Is that it? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna have to get the lower points. I could have sworn there's more. Please tell me there's more. If there isn't more, I'm giving them more. they might not be third to last anymore. Okay, you got T-Spikes here. No way, dude. It's just 2 rockers and 1 spinner? There's gotta be a spiker here somewhere, right? I'm not blind. Am I blind? I might be blind. I don't know. I actually think that's 2 rockers and a spin. 2 rockers and a T-Spiker. And the T-Spiker is a Haunter, which doesn't scream bulky. Not that your setter has to be bulky by any means, but like, it's a Haunter. it's pretty different. Like, but yeah, this is their only form of removal. He only has rapid. They only have rapid. I don't know this person's gender. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I should start sticking it there. Yeah, they only have rapid spin though, so that's not great. One spinner, and that's your only removal. So basically, I bumped my mic. But basically, you're telling me if I bring a ghost type, they can't get rid of hazards. So got it. I'm loving that. I love to hear that. Me and my Dragon Pop I'd be cruising. But no, seriously, like, that's pretty bad. Having only 1 spinner is not great for removal. It's not great. And apparently you only have 2 rockers and a T-Spiker. So that's actually not great either. That actually might matter because you might. Yeah, I think with the scores I have now, you tie with the Rem Shadow Rattatas, which was the last team we just did. So then it comes down to my personal preference on which team's better. But anyways, we started with the negatives. Let's look into the positives, right? So this team also has a lot of I have a lot of trend about the bottom teams have a lot of setup, right? So yeah, this team has decent amounts of setup. You know, Curse Donzozo sounds very, very scary. Yeah, it sounds very scary. You know, you got Growth Skull Villain, not Squally Villain. Stores Dance Cerule Edge / Bulk Up Cerule Edge. This thing gets like Agility and Calm Mind and Nasty Plot and a bunch of stuff too. And it recently just 6-0'd a team. Yeah, so that's pretty fun. This thing gets Bulk Up too. So yeah, it has a decent amount of setup. In terms of wall breaking, we've kind of elevated to a new class now here in this placing. You know, Slithering is pretty damn hard to switch into. Bug Fighting Stab is pretty hard to switch into, you know. And then you bring in Flying type, I guess, and I guess that works a little bit. But I think, let's see. You get Wild Charge at least, right? So that at least helps. Bandit First Impression sounds very scary to deal with. Let's see what else here. Iron Jugulus. while not as strong as Hydreigon, it is faster. It also has lasting blood too, which is pretty bad. But Dark Flying is not bad stab wise. You can get some nice hurricanes off, and you still have the momentum with U-turn. So it's not bad overall. Yeah, Glaceon, surprisingly not something to be underrated. Freeze Dry is just that good of a move to spam. Really, it's really good. And then Glaceon has more limited coverage than you might expect. With Shadow Ball and Chilling Water, stuff like that, it is good enough to actually work. So, yeah. This thing could even run Specs too if it wanted to. I could see it. At least it has decent coverage. So, yeah. So there's that. Speed tiers are fine. The bulk is pretty decent here too. When you got a Wish Chansey, and a Dondozo. Well, the Dondozo doesn't have reliable recovery, but you can pass those fat wishes to the Dondozo. That's just kind of we love that. We'd love to see that. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, no, that's about it. But yeah. So overall, it's a decent team, but the no flying resist, no rock resist, no dragon resist. That's not necessarily the best thing. But, Scam Glaceons have been doing very, very well. So again, well, I didn't say this before, but power rankings don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Like, of course, there are better teams than others, but at the end of the day, you just gotta play well and prep well. And you can pretty much win with most teams. Well, obviously, like, if you draft, like, a bunch of, like, LC mods, you're not gonna win. But, if you draft like a semi-solid team, which I think every team here is at least semi-solid, you can definitely win a championship title. So yeah. Moving on, we have 11th. Yes, 11th. And who might be 11th? Is it this team? No, it's not this team. Is it this team? No, it's not. It might be, potentially, our previous champion, the Wuppertal Woobers. How the mighty have fallen. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, so, this team is, I think it's pretty solid already. Like, I think it's fine. But, there's some issues with it. All teams have issues. And, yeah, so let's first get into the, let's start with the positives again. So, pivoting-wise, this team's kind of got that unlocked. You got, first off, you have the only Shedtail user, Orthworm. We don't talk about the bastard normal dragon, anyways. You got your Volt Switch. This thing doesn't get Volt Switch, I'm fine. Baton Pass Umbreon is actually very good. So, like, the tanky evolutions will effectively use Baton Pass because they both get Wish and Baton Pass. So, that synergy is actually really good, and people should start abusing that because, like, you guys can't see my hands, but they're waving around a bunch. But you guys should be, like, using, like, Wish and Baton Pass, or, like, Wish and a pivot move, because it makes the Wish passing a lot easier to do, because if your opponent switches, you'll see the switch because you Baton Passed, and then you can go to the right. Yeah, seriously, like, it works. It works a lot better. Especially since so many things lost Toxic, so, like, what you're doing, like, with your defensive mods, like, you have that free move slot anyway, so just do it, Anyways, this thing gets U-turn. U-turn here. You got, this thing is, like, one of the most, like, god-awful pivots to deal with in my life. I hate fighting Rotom Wash. Or Rotom Heat, for that matter. Or Rotom Cut. Yeah, all three of those suck. Yeah, Rotom Fan is, like, easier to deal with, says the guy with Rotom Fan. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rotom Fan. You're not good enough. No, I'm just kidding. I love Rotom Fan. I don't. Anyways. What else can I talk about here? Speed tiers. Yeah. They're fine. They're not anything to write home about, but they're fine. Again, we're kind of missing, like, the top tier speeds that I'm seeing. Like the fastest thing is 110 Iron Moth. That's great. Where's the 130? Yeah, that's right. I just asked you where's your 130 base speed mod. But yeah, like, speed tiers is something that no one got a 10 in, for the record. Basically, almost everyone got an 8 or a 9. Because, like, you know, I can always nitpick at a speed tier, at a team speed tiers. I can always nitpick. So basically, no one ever got a 9. No one ever got a 10. I wonder which team was like closest to getting a 10 though. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. Yeah, the bulk is pretty solid. You know, you got one of the fewer generators left standing. You know, you got a Moongus. Gudra is very fat on the special side. You got Wish Umbreon, so wishing wishing to like Gudra especially, like that's gonna be great. Wishing to Orthworm is gonna be even better because then you can spam Shed Tail a little bit more. So, you know, those things are great. I also run and watch. It's annoying as hell. Seriously. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the negatives. Setup. You know, you got Swords Dance Mimikyu, but like, you know, Calm Mind and DD maybe, and like, unfortunately, this thing doesn't get Quiver Dance, so you're stuck with Agility. So, you know, there's not a lot of good setup here. I guess you could run Nasty Plot Rotom Wash, but like you almost always run the Rotoms in defensive manners or Scarf. Like those are like the only two you kind of do. I've mentioned Nasty Plot before in like multiple seasons. I have never seen anyone use this since. I haven't seen anyone use Nasty Plot Rotom Wash in a long time. I haven't seen anyone use Nasty Plot Rotom Heat since literally pre-home Generation 8, like the first iteration of Generation 8, like when we at release Generation 8. That was the one time I've seen it. And then also post-home. Yeah, the post-home I've seen it too. But yeah, that's literally the only time I've seen Nasty Plot Rotom Heat. And then like Nasty Plot Rotom Wash, I've never seen that before. So yeah. Maybe someone just please prove me wrong and use this in a set. Like I don't have the good Rotoms. I don't have the good Rotoms here. So like someone please, like if you have Cut, Wash, or Heat, please just prove me wrong and use Nasty Plot in a set. Like I swear. But yeah. Yeah. So again, there's not a lot of good setup on this team. The wall breaking is fine. It's just it's whatever. I don't have to mention it too much, I guess. And then hazards, yes. Okay, so hazard wise, you know, you got well, first off, the first problem is there's only one rocker on this team, and it's Orthworm. And I'm a personal big hatred of one rocker teams, because if you don't bring Orthworm, I know you don't have rocks, and that just makes me happy. My flying type's Gober, you know. Spikes, there are 2 spikers here and 2 T-spikers too, so you know there's that. That's great. So what's the problem? The problem here is that, again, like the Skip Glaceons, there's only one hazard remover in this team, and it's Rapid Spin Kamala. And believe you me, you're not bringing Kamala on every single game. I love Kamala. It's cool, has a nice ability. You're not bringing Kamala in every single game. I can guarantee that. So the hazard removal is almost even weaker than Scapulations, because Scapulations is gonna bring Rapid Spin Torkoal because, you know, they need Torkoal because their team's a Sun team. So yeah, like, you're not gonna bring Kamala every single week, man. I don't believe you. Yeah, unless it's purposely just to remove hazards, in which case, you know, you should get a better hazard remover. Although I think at this point, because there's not a lot of defog anymore, and there's not a lot of spinners to begin with. Yeah, there's probably not a lot of removing left of the hazards department, probably. Anyways, yeah. So those are the 2 like main weak points: setup and the hazards. Kind of, pretty whatever. Okay. I think that's enough about that team. We can move on. Next up, we got 10th place. So 10th place is going to be, and this is very indicative of me saying that I think the team, like me saying that I disagree with these rankings. This is kind of perfectly exemplified by this team. Because like, I'm gonna say right now, I love this team. This team looks amazing. It looks very fun. However, this team was ranked 10th based on the overall rankings. It did tie with the Warpatal Woopers, but you know, I have a personal bias here with this team because This team looks so fun. I don't know. So yeah, I did rank this higher. I broke the tie. Although I do see the problems that this team has. Now I'm looking at it again, and there is some problems that I will go over with later. But let's first talk about the positives. So, positive speaking, we got some banger setup mods here. I hate this. Oh my god! Of course, it freaking paused on the thumbnail. You know, when you like Mew more, you kind of just have to deal with the eventuality that their thumbnails are going to be exposed on YouTube, and I swear to God, their thumbnails are. I'm not here for those. I mean, I kind of am, but like not mostly the music. I promise. Okay. Anyways, Driftville Delibirds, right? So, where was I? Sorry, I got distracted by the girls, I guess. Why am I exposing myself? No, okay, don't take that out of context. Anyway, setup. Yeah, there's a lot of setup here. So, you know, you got Sword Stance King Gambit, which, you know, is the same thing as Bisharp, except bulkier and a little slower and stronger, and has Supreme Overlord. So, you know, is that. Excalibur, you know, it's a pretty damn good Dragon Dancer for what I've seen. You got Garganical, which you're like, what type of setup does this have? And then you realize it has Iron Defense Body Press, and that's actually a viable setup strategy. So, you know, there's that. You got an Asphodite Dragon. I think this thing gets Sword Stance, if I'm not mistaken. It does, so, you know, that's super fun. This thing gets Shift Gear, which, you know, might not be the best thing to combine with its, you know, Punk, with its Boom Burstin'. But then you realize you just don't give a crap. You throw a Throat Spray on it anyways, and then you just kind of do it anyways, but faster. So, you know, there's that. And then plus bonus, you can like run like Drain Punch or like Throat Chop or anything like. Oh, it doesn't get Throat Chop anymore. That is absolutely amazing for me. I'm so glad that when I bring my Dragon Ball against this thing, I don't have to worry about it as much. But anyways, yeah. So, yeah. What else? Belly Drum Zard, very scary mod. If you can get it set up in the correct scenarios, that's about it. But you know, the things I listed, all of these can set up, so that's, you know, that's an instant 10. What else we got here? Wall breaking wise, you know, King Gambit pretty much functions as a wall breaker because of Supreme Overlord. At the end, you know, if it's the last man standing, it's already got a +1 attack boost essentially, right? So, you know, you can just click Iron Heads, Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch with pretty much impunity, and it will still kill things. I guess Excalibur could potentially run like a choice set, like Choice Band. And I guess it would work pretty well since it just has that really big attack stat and Ice Ground coverage combined with the Dragon Stab. You know, signature move Glaive Rush, right? Which is pretty damn strong. You know, wait, it's 120? I thought it was 160. Never mind, it's not that strong anymore. Okay, I didn't know it was 120. Oh, I could have sworn it was 160. I think I was thinking about Gigaton Hammer. I think I got those two confused, but. Actually, yeah, never mind. I mean, is this even better than Outrage? I mean, it is better than Outrage. Kinda. But, yeah, anyways. You know, but that's downside's pretty bad. But, you know, regardless of that, you know, Icicle Crash plus Earthquake, you know, Mamoswine was famous for running this stuff for years. And it's faster than Mamoswine and stronger than Mamoswine. So, you know, on paper, it should function just like Mamoswine, but better. Except it doesn't get stabbed on Earthquake, which is kind of important. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Also, I'm so sad that Thermal Exchange doesn't absorb the fire move. I don't think this thing's a really... like, when I saw this thing for the first time on paper, like when I because I saw some of the leaks, right? So, and I was looking at it, I was like, this could have been, like, if it was like just a little bit better, this could have been an OP pseudo legendary, like, you know, like Dragapult or like Garchomp, or like it was almost there, and then they screwed up by giving like the signature move has that weird, you know, basically every hit super effective on it. Thermal Exchange doesn't absorb fire moves, or like at least like halves the damage. I mean, not being burned is nice, but like, you know, I would love to see like it absorb fire moves instead. But yeah, this might make it a little bit broken, but I like broken stuff. I like seeing things getting banned to Ubers. All right, that just makes me happy on the inside. Anyways, oh yeah, breakers. Low kicks is a very, very strong choice bander. Tinted lens, first impression. That's a pretty big yikes, in general. So there's that. And stab U-turn is also just amazing. And then you also have another form of sucker punch that isn't reliant on being the first turn of battle, first turn be switching in. Although it does rely on the target attacking you, but it's fine. Toxicity, great specs mod. Yeah, this thing's super duper strong, dude. Like, I'm also glad we didn't allow Terra for this Pokemon, because Terra normal Toxicity sounds absolutely disgusting. Yeah. I think this thing literally two-shots Chansey. Like, what used to be regular, like, Chansey. Like, Eviolite Chansey. Like, or Blissey. One of the two. I don't know. It two-shots one of them without Spidef investment. Because, Blissey's and Chanseys used to do that before power creep happened. But yeah. Yeah, so the wall breaking's great. I touch on the bulk. I don't know if I touched on the bulk. Bulk's decent. You got... Actually, it's worse because I just found out that Hydreigon doesn't have Roost. But, Hippopotamus is pretty bulky. Altaria is decent enough. Garganacl can be really, really hard to kill and has reliable recovery too. So it's not terrible, right? And then the downside. So we have a couple downsides. We always do. For example, hazards. There is only one defogger, and that is your Altaria. So, if you don't see an Altaria, if you put up a hazard, this person is not going to be able to remove hazards at all. Also, the hazard setup, they only have rocks, which wasn't that big of an issue, but, I do expect at least like a spiker, usually. Especially on this type of team where it's very offense heavy, like I would kind of expect some spikes or something, but they don't have it. Sucks for them. Yeah. Actually, wait. Just making sure this doesn't. Yeah, okay, this doesn't get spikes. Okay, but yeah, not amazing. Let's see here. Sorry, I was just checking my Discord notification. I also need to check OBS to make sure my volume's on. It looks like it's okay. It looks like it's spiking a lot, actually. I hope it's not too bad. What else? Oh, this is the only other person who got a 6, or got not less than an 8 or above on speed tiers, and it is because of the exact same reason Dayton Dugas had. This person does not have anything above base 100 in terms of speed. Again, I find that to be pretty damn bad. You're gonna have to rely on Scarfers a lot. To be fair, this is a little bit more mitigated by the fact that this person has a good amount of priority. You got Sucker Punch on King Gamut, you got First Impression and Sucker Punch on low kicks. That mitigates it a little bit, but like, you have to rely on Scarfing a lot more often than you normally would. Like, I suspect that this Hydreigon's going to be Scarf more often than not every single game. So, yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's about all I wanted to say about that team. Okay, let's move on to 9th place. The 9th place is... I'm not doing any fanfare. The Gale Song Gardevoirs. Not fanfare. Teasing. Playing around. I don't know what the term is. Anyways. Honestly, this kind of surprised me. I do not like this team. I'm going to be quite honest with you. But, when I was looking at it, it wasn't too awful. Yeah. So... I guess we'll start with the negatives because I want to talk about them. There are not that many, actually, surprisingly. I guess, yeah, no, everything here is just pretty average, honestly. There might be like weird picks, like jump. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. you know, this jump like, well, I'm not gonna get a lot of hate from specifically from certain people who I will refrain from naming. I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this, but Jumpluff is not a good Pokemon, and I won't hear any shit regarding otherwise. Murkrow, everyone likes it here. Oh, I'm gonna get a lot more hate for this. Murkrow, everyone likes it here, and Prankster Haze is nice. I'm also not a fan of this one too. Not as much as Jumpluff, but like Murkrow is like, it's like okay. But like, especially since you already have a Toxapex who already learned Haze, like I don't know why you did the Murkrow. Like, you know what? If you want to do your Tailwind stuff, whatever. You know, that's fine. I don't know. I'm just not a fan. But yeah, other than that, like I think the Mons are decently solid. Especially, you know, Pex. And like this thing, I don't understand how it's still good. I hate this Mon so much. Like, it lost Scald and Knockoff, and it's still OU. I don't understand. This thing just survives. I feel like we'd have to take away. Okay, if we took away Recover, it would have to drop from OU, right? Like that. There's no way. There's no way that this thing can survive on just Regenerator. I can't. I wouldn't be able to believe it. He probably could. Oh god. Anyway, yeah, everything here is pretty average. Yeah, it's pretty average too. I guess the one good thing, not one good thing, but like one of its good parts is the setup. So, you know, Calm Mind Sylveon, well, Sylveon lost Mystical Fire, so that really sucks for it. But, you know, Calm Mind Sylveon with Moonblast, Hyper Voice is still decently solid. Excuse me. You got Nasty Lazo, Nasty Zoroark, also Swords Dance Zoroark, by the way. Quiver Dance Choreo, you got Swords Dance Lycanroc, you know, all those things, you know, pretty solid setup mons. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just nothing like, nothing's like particularly weak about this team. I guess like one thing I would have to say is these things don't get spikes. I don't know why I put that. Okay, anyways. Actually, one thing this team has as a struggle is that there is no spikes. They have multiple rockers, and they have 2 defoggers. I think I threw up a little. But, you know, actually 3 defog. Wait, what? No, wait, this doesn't get defogged. This doesn't get defogged. Actually, he only has 1 defogger. Actually, whoa, hold on. Actually, I think that's just a... Well, only 1 defogger. Actually, yeah, that just kind of... That actually means that they would get a lower score. Would that matter? Oh, yeah, that would. Because I could potentially put them at 11th. Oops. Well, yeah, I'm too lazy to change it. But, yeah, the hazards aren't actually that great. I just realized. You know, you got 3 rockers, which is good. I like that part. You have a couple T-Spikers, that's great. But yeah, only 1 defogger, and it's not over or Choreo. Like, again, like if I... Wait. Oh, wait, no Incoherent has defog too. Okay, sorry. Okay, ignore everything I just said. I forgot this thing got defogged for a hot second. But yeah, the hazards are fine. You know, it's like... Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, this seems just average. I can't really, like, comment on anything, like, extremely cool. You know, like, I mean, I already mentioned the setup, right? The setup's pretty good. You know, I'm a personal fan of, like, Lycanroc and stuff. Oricorio is always a cool mon, because you get to change what types you get to use per game. And that's the only mon that gets to do that now, because Silvali's not in the game currently. Yeah. Speed tiers are decent. You know, you got, actually, yeah, these speed tiers are close. These speed tiers are pretty good, actually. I gave them an 8. Why did I give them an 8? Yeah, this must be a reason why I gave them an 8. Maybe it's like not enough slow mons. That might be it, actually. No. Actually, yeah, I don't know why I give them an 8. This should be like a 9. Does that matter? Technically it did. Uh-oh. Well, again, as I said, I'm not gonna change this. Yeah, the speed tiers are pretty good. I don't know, I gave it an 8. It should have been a 9. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I no, there's not much to comment on. I think this team's just pretty average. I guess the team's not as bulky as I considered it though, because like, you have Pex, obviously that's great. Sylveon, good wish passer. No, even has the Poke's fine. You know what? Whatever. Let's move on. I don't know. I didn't really give a lot of constructive stuff there, though. That's my bad. But yeah. I just think it's like a nice average team. Besides a couple of choice mods. Yeah. Okay. Let's think about the next one. In 8th place, we have the... It's right next to them, the Flipper Roll Dolphins. Yeah, so we got the double Dolphin team here, and I'm a fan. Wiggly, make sure to give great tests back to them so we can have a triple Dolphin team. If not, you're disqualified actually. So I'm just saying. Nah, I'm just kidding. But imagine if we did have a triple Dolphin team. I think I would just straight up forfeit if I had to play against this team, which I don't. So, but yeah. Anyways. Let's see what to comment on. Okay, so there's another negative. Let's start with the negatives again. I'm just making sure that I don't screw up anything here before I continue. Yeah, I'm just checking hazards. This does have spin though. Okay. Alright. Actually, oh no, this doesn't get default. I'm assuming that doesn't get default either. Sea spikes. Actually, this team should have a higher point total in hazards too. Actually, so me giving the Gales on Gardevoirs less points in. I guess it didn't matter, because this team also deserves more points. Actually, yeah, I gave it a 5. I don't know why I gave it a 5. This should be like a 6. I guess it wasn't super key and I like no spikes. But like you do have 2 spinners at least. I guess no defogger too. But at least you have 2 spinners, right? So like that's a little bit better. Gives more variety. So yeah, this should have been a 6. Yeah, that's my bad. Yeah, okay, I guess both teams deserve an extra point. So yeah, the speed tiers from Gales on Gardevoir should have been a 9. And then the hazards from Flipper Roll should be a 6. Yep, no, that's not bad. So actually we have like 4 teams tied for like 6th to 9th place. Spoiler alert. So I don't think my order actually changes though, frankly. Even with the 4-way tie. So actually I think we're good. I think we're good. I think honest to God, I don't think my order changes at all. But yeah. Anyways, so this team is like basic standard rain, right? Well, maybe not standard rain, but you got a lot of like mods that are like weak to fire, but like the rain, because there's fire. You got your Pelipper, you got your scary electric type that has weather ball. Used to be Zapdos, but now it's this thing. And you got Floatzel, which is, I think it is the strongest Swift Swimmer we've had so far because of Wave Crash. Having double edge, except water type, is pretty damn good. Yeah, so yeah. Again, there's not. I guess. Well, now that the hazards thing is resolved, yeah, there's not much to comment on. Speed tiers are pretty solid, and it's backed up by Floatzel having Swift Swim. So in that conditional of having rain up, Floatzel is going to be basically the fastest thing on the field. There's a lot of good Scarfers here. Calawatro has a pretty good speed tier. Like it has a good high speed tier, and stuff like that. The power here is pretty good. Kilowattrol and Floatzel again kind of carry that. You also got adaptability, Dragalge. This thing could probably potentially run like a Choice Band set. So like the wall breaking here is pretty solid. And yeah, and you got some good utility with. I mean, I know this is a meme having 2 Donphans, but like this kind of works out. You can pick and choose which one you want to bring for each game. If you want that steel typing, or if you want that just the pure the pure ground typing. Like either one can actually work in specific games, right? Yeah. I didn't actually know this, but Iron Treads is actually weaker than Donphan. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, yeah. Anything else to comment on? Why is my nose stuffy? I don't know. I also got a Hail Setter here in the Bomba Snow, I guess. I don't know if that's worth bringing up, but you know, it's pretty cool. You can set a Veil with it for sure, so that at least gives you access to dual screens. Yeah, about it. Man, I didn't really talk a lot about these teams. Well, it's just like, you know, there's nothing, you know, we're getting to the point where it's like, these teams are, you know, we're in the middle, right? So these teams are like, in my opinion, they're not bad, but they're not amazing, right? So it's kind of like, there isn't too much to comment on anyways, right? Like, yeah, I mean, there's nothing bad to comment on. There's nothing amazing to comment on. But like, yeah, I don't know. I guess that justifies me not talking about it too much. Especially since I'm not trying to go into in-depth sets right now, so yeah. I guess I can mention the pivoting. This is really good here, actually. You know, you got Iron Treads with Volt Switch. You got Pelipper with U-Turn. Let me click back in. Wintermo's an excellent pivot. Kilowatcho 2 and Bombardier as well. Dragout. Oh no, Dragout's the last flip turn. Right, flip turn doesn't exist. Actually, I don't know if it exists or not. I don't know. If it does exist, it's not on a lot of mods for sure. But yeah, I think the pivoting is really solid here, and with rain teams, you do want to keep up momentum pretty good often amount of time. Like weather teams in general, you want to keep up momentum because they're all. Fun fact: weather teams are basically just hyper offense. you set up the thing, and then you go. So. It's just a different type of setting up the thing. Like usually with HO teams, you're setting up screens or you're setting up hazards. This one, you set up the weather and then you go. So yeah. But yeah, keeping up momentum is really good. So we appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to 7th place. Surprisingly. Well, it's not surprisingly, but in 7th place we have the Slovakian Slowbros. We officially reached the basically middle. Well, 8th and 7th are basically the middle. So yeah, yeah. Instead of a rain team, we have a sand team here. Yeah, I guess kind of. I mean, there's the Sand Rusher in Houndstone. You know, yeah. So let's see what to talk about. This team does have a couple of weak points actually. Yeah, it actually does, surprisingly. But it makes up for it in a lot of other aspects. So yeah, let's start talking about it. Let's start with the negatives. Pivoting wise, it's not amazing. Actually, it's not that bad. Yeah, Corviknight's an amazing pivot, right? And Sandy Shocks works pretty well too. But then when you get to the other ones, so the only other thing that has a pivot move is Hawlucha with U-Turn. And you know, Hawlucha's not really known to run U-Turn often, so because it's gonna be kind of forced into like a couple roles on this team. So like first off, it's gonna be running like Swords Dance or stuff like that, right? Anyways, so you know, it running U-Turn is not gonna be super common. So really, your pivots are limited to Corviknight and Sandy Shocks. And granted, those at least Corviknight I know is really good. Sandy Shocks, you know, it's still kind of improving to me. I did fight this team though. I didn't fight the Sandy Shocks though. But anyways, wait, did I? No, I didn't. But yeah, so like I just, you know, there's only 2 pivot bonds really here. Teats are kind of can function as, but like but like no, it's not really. So yeah, pivoting is gonna be pretty hard to do. And cleaners. Do I want to put cleaners as a problem? I mean, kind of, yeah. Like, yeah, I know he has Houndstone, and in Sand Rush, you know, that's a really fast mod, right? You know, but besides that, like, and besides maybe Sandy Shocks, what realistically runs Scarf here, or like is like naturally fast, like, by naturally fast, I mean like faster than Hawlucha, which I guess might be a little bit unfair, but actually, yeah, that's pretty unfair. Actually, no, his cleaners are fine. You know what? I take it back. It's fine. That would actually change the rankings because then he would be at least 6th. Yeah, at least 6th. Oopsie. 7th or 6th, it's close enough. But yeah, I think that, yeah, no, his cleaners are better than I originally assumed. So I guess I was wrong there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're still not amazing, but like, it's better than I thought. So I guess I was wrong. Let's talk about positives at least. I think there's a lot of good wall breakers here, and a lot of good setup mods. So we got Swords Dance Lucha. Yeah, let's talk about setup first. So in terms of setup, we got Bulk Up Corviknight, Dragon Dance T-Tar, you got Belly Drum Azumarill, Swords Dance Lucha, whatever Armor Rouge does, which is probably just a bunch of Calm Mind stuff with weak armor. Yeah, so like those setup bonds are pretty solid, and like Belly Drum Azumarill is always like a super massive threat to deal with. Yeah, and then in terms of wall breakers, I think you still got good stuff here too, right? Banded T-Tar, like those Stone Edges are so hard to switch into. Sandy Shocks, Electric Ground Coverage sounds pretty damn good on paper. So that's always going to be nice. Banded Azumarill, really hard to switch into. Specs Armor Rouge, especially since it has good coverage, I think that would be really hard to switch into too. Because, it has Fire, Psychic, and Fighting. So, like, all three of those combined is, like, cool. Yeah, you can't really risk. You don't really have a solid switching into that. So, yeah. The double poison is kind of confusing me over here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this thing gets shift gear, too. So, yeah, have fun with that. What else? The speed tiers are nice. The speed tiers are... I think this is probably the closest one we have to 10, actually, because you have the base 119 Hawlucha, 118 Hawlucha, right? And you have the Houndstone. That's super fast. Yeah, I think this is probably the closest one to 10 we've had so far. That might be the closest one to 10, period. So, yeah. Really comment on this bottom part. I mean, besides shift gear, I said it earlier. I don't know. There's not really too much to talk about with these. Yeah. Okay. I think that's enough for that team, and we should move on to 6th place. Who 6th place is this team. No, it's not this team. It is the Verbeek Venomous. So yeah. I also really like this team a lot. This time, it is actually a lot higher than the Driffield Delibirds, so at least that's somewhat representative, I guess. Yeah, so there's like one kind of an issue with this team, and it is the lack of reliable recovery because this thing lost recently. So yeah, I don't think anything on this team has a reliable recovery move. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I am like 90% sure about that. So if something hits this team, they're gonna be at the HP or they're gonna be at less. And we're ignoring leftovers, right? So, and potential bears. But yeah, seriously, like, Great Tusk, super bulky on the physical side. Like, if I hit it once, it's gonna be at that percent for the rest of the game. Like, it's not gonna be able to recover any health back. There's no wish bonds here. There's no way to recover health. Like, it's just the bulk is lacking because you don't have reliable recovery moves. Like, so even though there are mons that are like, they have good stats on the bulk side, like, there's just no way to recover the health. Which is the main problem here. Besides that, though, I think this team is pretty solid. You have pretty good setup here, and have pretty good wall breakers. A Spot Throw, super threatening in terms of setup. It can't Terra into like a weird typing to escape like dark types or whatever. But at least you still have the Calm Mind, the speed boost, and the stored power, and then you can just run Dazzling Thing to hit the dark types, and you're good to go. Yeah, this thing is still super threatening. Maybe if we talk about Great Tusk, right? So, actually, that's not part of setup. Let's stick to the setup part. Thankfully, Scissor did not lose Swords Dance, so you can still run, Swords Dance, Bullet Punch stuff. Yeah, it's going to be very strong. Again, I talked about Nasty Block Run Pete, but again, yet to see it be good. Someone do it. Someone do it for me. Swords Dance Bisharp always has been a threat. Even now it gets an Eviolite. So, that could be pretty fun. Might be able to stick more with Life Orb and stuff, but who knows. This thing gets Quiver Dance, that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it did not get the ability to Terra into a different typing to escape that unfortunate Bug Eyes typing, which probably contentious to be one of the worst typings in the game. Probably. Yeah, it's pretty hard to be worse than that one. Bug Grass is a contender though, for sure. Anyways, yeah, so there's a lot of good setup, and there's a lot of good wall breakers. So, you know, this thing is basically Buzzwole, except replace the bug with a ground typing, right? Like, and it has a lot more utility than Buzzwole. But Buzzwole's cooler, so, you know, I don't care. But all seriousness, yeah, Grace Tusk is an amazing Pokemon. Ground Fighting Stab is just really hard to switch into. So if you just slap a band on this thing, you're just gonna melt a lot of stuff. Scizor, just ditch the Sword Dance, slap on a Choice Band, and then you know those Ball Punches are gonna be doing crazy amounts of damage. And you get Stab U-Turn as well. I guess Rotom Heat you could run Specs. I guess, kind of. I guess this thing. I guess you could try to run Banded. Mabastiff with Stakeout is actually really hard to switch into because, you know, you double your stat again. You double your attack if your target switched in. So, you know, that makes it really hard to switch into. Yeah. Is there anything else to talk about here? I guess nothing too important, I guess. Yeah, let's move on. Okay. In 5th place, we have the Texas Turtwig. So, I was kind of surprised to see this one up here, personally, because this is an example of me not particularly liking the team too much, actually. But it is here. This is what the rankings have decided. And I'm just going to have to agree with them. I don't agree with them. But anyways, yeah, so there is an issue with this team, and it's hazards. I'm seeing a lot of themes here with hazards being a problem, actually. Yeah, it's probably just due to the lack of removal. Speaking of which, this team has no removal. Like the Dayton Dugongs. Unlike the Dayton Dugongs, they at least have a little bit more hazards here. You know, you got a couple rockers here with the Dunsparce and Quagsire, multiple Spikers and T-Spikers as well with Cloyster, Quagsire. Yeah, so at least in that regard, they're a lot better. But no removal means if a hazard's... Oh, wait, actually... Yes, because Cloyster lost Rapids are good. I wasn't an idiot. Yeah, so... No removal means if a hazard goes up, it's staying up, and that's about it. They don't even have a grounded poison type to remove T-Spikes, so, like, yeah, even that, they're screwed in that regard. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. They make up for it in other categories, though, thankfully for them. Their speed tiers are pretty excellent, thanks to Palmot and Weavile. They carry a good amount of that, actually. Yeah, and then their setup is really, really solid. You know, Shell Smash Cloyster is always amazing. We got like Swords Dance, Quaquaval, Torch Song, Skeledirge even can work. You know, Swords Dance Weavile, Swords Dance Palmot. Yeah, so like he does have a lot of good setup mons here. I think no revival blessing with Palmot, by the way. Yeah, so there's that. The wall breaking is pretty solid too. Well, it's not that amazing, but like, you know, Choice Band, Weavile, Palmot, like they work pretty well. Berserker's not too bad as well in that regard. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's not too bad. And then I guess the bulk is not too bad either. So, you know, Brute Bonnet, pretty bulky. Skeledirge, pretty bulky. Both of them get recovery moves. That Dunsparce could potentially be pretty decently bulky. I kind of just need to see the right matchup, I guess. And then Quagsire has been kind of infamous for being that like physical unaware mon. So yeah, I think the bulky is pretty good. Yeah. Is there anything else I want to comment on? I do not believe so, so we will be moving onwards. Thusly. Okay. Yeah, my voice is starting to die. Hopefully I can make it through this. We are at 4th place. 4th place. So I should be deleting these teams as we go on. Nah, forget about it. In 4th place we have, where is it? Just kidding, it's right here. The Dubious Digitals at 4th place. So, why are they 4th? You might be asking me. And it is because, well, yeah, I will tell you. It is because everything is above average, mostly. Yeah, everything's mostly above average, or average. Yeah. So like their hazards and cleaners are the only things where they're like, kind of whatever. Oh, actually, no, they actually have a pretty decent problem. I just noticed. The main problem here is their type variants. You thought I wouldn't bring this up again, did you? But yeah, Dubious Digitals has similar problems actually to the Skemglacions, except not as bad. So instead of having no electric immunity and having no rock resist, so they had, Skemglacions had electric immunity, no rock flying or dragon resist. The Dubious Digitals lose they have an electric immunity now, and they have a rock resist, but they also don't have a flying or dragon resist either. So, if you look at this team, it's like, well, yeah, bring that Bandit Staraptor and everything, all your problems just go away. Or bring that Specs Draco Meteor, all your problems go away. You feel me? You feel me, right? So yeah, that's a pretty big problem. They also only have one spinner, actually, as their form of removal, which is also not great. Yeah, and it's on Tatsugiri, which is not the bulkiest thing in the world. Actually, that's not terrible, but yeah, no. Physically speaking, this kind of looks like a mini Gengar, in a sense. But yeah, seriously, only one remover, and it's Tatsugiri. I specifically picked Droopy because it's the best one here. I don't know. If you disagree, you just have bad taste. I don't know what to tell you, man. The shiny actually looks really great. I'm getting off super off tangent, but anyways, it's like a nice white, it's like white tuna. Okay, anyways, I'm moving on. Yeah, so hazards wise, they still have a lot of good stuff. You got a rocker, you got multiple Spikers and T-Spikers. You got webs, which, congratulations. Oh yeah, Wiggly also had webs. I forgot to mention that. But anyways, yeah, besides that, only one spinner. That's not great. But you do have every hazard, at least. The one rocker thing is kind of sus, though. So, What else should I talk about? I should talk about all the positives, right? So, they scored really well in Wall Breakers. Yaskarada sounds really hard to switch into. I wouldn't know. I actually haven't played against one yet. Iron Hands can probably function as a wall breaker as well. Gengar is super duper scary as specs. Assuming Tatsugiri could function decently well. Water Dragon's not too easy to switch into. Yeah. And then in terms of the brain, what am I saying? The speed tiers are pretty good, I guess. Apparently, I marked them at 9, so they must. Yeah, I mean, Mascara is pretty fast, and their spreads are pretty. Yeah, with Gengar too. Yeah. No, the speed tiers are really nice here too. In terms of cleaners, they got the best one of them all, which is Ditto. And that's just a really nice countermeasure against reverse sweeping as well. You can keep people from setting up too much because they'll be scared of the Ditto. Yeah. Ditto's just a really nice versatile mon to use, so there's always just that. What else do I talk about? Yeah, maybe I should have written better notes when I started this recording. It's fine. This is all off the cuff. I don't feel like planning for years because I want to deliver shitty videos. You're welcome. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot I want to comment on here. I think it's it's got its strong points, but there's not too much I want to comment on here. It's like one of those. It's like with the middle parts, except higher. yeah. Anyways, let's move on to third place. So in third place, we have... haha. We have the Bielefeld Beatles. Yeah, that's right. In third place, Bielefeld Beatles. This is something I didn't necessarily agree with personally, but you know they're third, so you know, there's not much I can do about it. So yeah, we're at the top three. No one scored below a 6 in any category, so basically everything is at least average or better. Yeah, well, actually, that was true in fourth place as well. But yeah, so everything is at least average or better. So let's talk about why. Why would you pause? Anyways, let's talk more so about above average stuff. So we have here pretty good setup in wall breakers. Yeah, so Breloom functions at both because Swords Dance Breloom is pretty scary, and then Bandit Breloom is also scary as hell. Volcarona is a great setup sweeper. You also have Haxorus, which can function as both, just due to the high attack stat and also access to Swords Dance / Dragon Dance. Staraptor is a great banded wall breaker. Espeon and Mismatches kind of function similarly in that they both can set up, but then they can also just hit really hard with their Psychic / Ghost Stabs. So yeah. Slacking can't really set up, unfortunately, just due to Truant, but you know, it can still get off strong hits with like banded like normal moves and such, and it has good coverage. Yeah, so this team is pretty good on the offense side. You have a good screen setter in Grimstar and good hazard setters in Fortress, and apparently Gastrodon now, because that thing got Stealth on Spikes for some reason. I don't understand. But yeah, so this kind of reads as your very typical like hyper offense team. Actually, this looks very similar to like Weatherless teams in like Generation 5. They look really similar. Like you had the Breloom, you had the Gastro, you had the Volcarona. It's like missing like a Dragonite or something. But yeah, so I think this team is really good offense wise, and it supports it really well with the hazards and the screen setter. So those are the points I give to that. In terms, well, because this is a hazard team now, though, there is some problems with the bulk. You know, Gastrodon and Fortress are like the only two bonds that are like super bulky on this team. Volcarona can be spec'd to be bulky as well, and then thanks to the Quiver Dance boost, it can get bulky on the special side too. Yeah, and then yeah, that's like about it. I know Espeon can run Morning Sun. That defense stat though is just too bad. I mean, I know Volcarona also has a bad defense stat, but at least has a better I can't believe I'm saying this. Better typing in terms of taking hits. Well, you know, because it's true. Because, you know, you take, like, at least with this bug fire typing, you know, you're not weak to ground at the very least for a fire type, which is good. And you have Flame Body as well. You resist grass and steel. Steel especially is not a bad one to resist nowadays. But yeah, you know, you are weak, you know, 4 times weak to rock and weak to flying, water, stuff like that. You know. That's still common and that's still annoying, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a pretty good HO team. Do I think this is third place? I don't know. I'd personally put the Bielefeld Beedus and like Texas Turtwings a little bit lower than their original placements, and I would kind of, yeah. You know, I'll talk about what I think the ranking should have been later. But yeah, I think that's enough about Bielefeld Beedus for now. I know I didn't spend too much time on it, but that's fine. Okay, so in second place, there's only 2 people left. I wonder. Oh, if you've been paying attention, I'll move it for you. I haven't mentioned myself, and I also haven't mentioned the Denver Diglets. So, which team do I think is second place, or which team do the rankings say is second place? Because I may or may not agree with the rankings, and second place is, of course, the Denver Diglets, because I'm obviously first place. Actually, no, that's not true. I am actually second place. Yeah. Not to hype myself up, but I think I drafted a pretty solid team. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, every team has its weaknesses, so we'll talk about it a little bit. First off, I think in terms of wall breakers, I'm a little bit lacking. We got spec spell, right? That's pretty cool. But like aside from that, there's not a lot here going on here. Got Tariyama, I suppose. Glade is just strong as hell, dude. I can't believe I drafted Glade. I can't believe Glade lasted until round. What is that? Like 8? It lasted until round 8. Like I'm flabbergasted. This thing is strong as hell, dude. Sharpness is so ridiculous. Anyways, yeah. So Glade, you got Hariyama, and you got Dragapult, and like 2 of them are fighting types already, so you're kind of overlapping in terms of coverage there. So yeah, my wall breaking is not super great here. Yeah, I've got to give myself that. I think that's like my only weakness though, because if you haven't, I haven't really touched on the cleaners category too much. But like most people just got a 6, and like there's one person that got a 7, and one person and a couple people that got 5s. So like I wasn't really particularly impressed with any person's cleaners this season. But yeah, I do have I think this is actually the fastest mod currently, so that helps me a lot in terms of cleaning. Yeah, I think his speed tiers are pretty good too, but there's just like a big gap in between. It's like between like I think like Screamtail, and then like there's like a big gap until like 80 something where I hit like Glade and Ronofan and stuff. So I'm just kind of that's kind of what I don't like having those kind of big gaps, especially like a gap between the base 100 speed where the base 100 speed tier resides. Like I'm not really a fan of that. So I gave myself a little bit less points there for speed tiers. Yeah, but I think aside from that, I think I have a pretty solid defensive backbone with Tingleer, Screamtail, and Talonflame, and Bronzong even, and Quillfish. Like, I think I drafted a very solid balanced team. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this team. I mean, it does have problems, I guess. Just they're not too bad. I guess I actually have been a little bit disappointed with Tingleer, if I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I thought this thing was gonna be like unbreakable. I was like honestly expecting it to like tank like +6 belly drum Azu. Like it's like I was like that's amazing. Now that I think about it, it's completely ridiculous that I thought that. But I just want to see like just absolutely ridiculous crap. I'm just not getting it, Tingleer. You gotta impress me more, man. But yeah, that's just my unrealistic expectations. What else do we have here? I think my setup's pretty good. Glade, Venomoth, Dragapult with Dragon Dance. Even though it, actually no, I'm not gonna spoil it a little bit. Okay, I'll spoil it. I don't have Steel Wing anymore. Like, how does this thing lose Steel Wing? I don't get it. So yeah, the Dragon Dance set is a lot harder to use now because Steel Wing was really nice just to hit fairy types, but now you don't have that. So yeah. And Dragapult never got any good physical stat to begin with, a physical ghost stat to begin with, so that's great. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I think my team probably has the best hazards overall, like in the hazard category, because I have a defogger and a spinner, and then I also have good setters in general. So I have 2 stealth rockers with Tingleer and Screamtail and Bronzong, so that's 3. And I have 2 spikers with Tingleer and with Quillfish, T-spikers, Quillfish, and Venomoth 2, I guess, but that doesn't really count too much. Yeah, I think I have the best hazards overall. I am tied with first place, which by now is the Denver Diglets. But yeah, I think overall I drafted a good team. And then we'll get into first place. So the Denver Diglets. Congratulations, by the way. I guess I don't know. So this team is. I actually didn't think it deserved to be first place. I'll be quite honest with you. I think it is really solid. I think it's still really solid, but you'll see my personal rankings later. Actually, I haven't done the personal rankings yet, so I'm gonna do this live, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. This team only scored 1-6 and 1-7, and everything else was 8 or above. And so the cleaners category again, but like most people just didn't score well in cleaners, so they got a 6 because I just don't think anyone has good cleaners this season. 7 in wall breakers because, well, it's limited to like Cinderace and it's limited to like Flamigo, Braviary, and Flamigo, Braviary kind of cover each other quite well. Like, yeah, they overlap pretty well in terms of, not well. They just overlap in terms of coverage because they're both flying types and they both have close combat. So yeah, and Magazone's a good specs wall breaker as well. But like, yes, aside from that, it's not too heavy on the wall breaking. But yeah, I think this team shines in just like the bulk. Well, not it's like the good like intermittent bulk, because you have like Dragonite, and that thing's like impossible to kill, and then you have like stuff that just like has just enough bulk to like kind of last in the game. Florges, has Wish as well to help keep everything else alive. Toedscruel has like has good Speed F stat, even with the ground grass typing, which can be a detriment at times. It still works pretty well. Slowbro is just hard to break through. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Teleport or Chilly Reception, because apparently Chilly Reception is only exclusive to the Slowking line for whatever reason. Yeah. Lost Teleport, though, which is really bad. At least still has Regenerator. Still has Slack Off, so. Yeah. In terms of hazards, you got Stealth Rock, you got Spikes. Glamora is the goddamn hazards. This is a thing? Oh, it can be male. Okay, well, I was gonna say Queen because I thought this was only female, but I guess I'm wrong. The hazards, King/Queen. Toxic Debris is just a really good ability in terms of setting up hazards, obviously. And yeah, we have also backup Spikes here. Unfortunately, Diverticulus only do have one rocker, so that is pretty bad. I also only have one Defogger as well, and it's on Braviary, so it's... Oh, but yeah, I almost forgot. They also have Spin. It's just a different type of Spin. I didn't know Mortal Spin guaranteed poison foes. I thought it was a 50-50 chance. But anyways, yeah, so that's... I mean, it's better than Rapid Spin. So. I mean, I guess it's weaker than Rapid Spin. It doesn't get the +1 speed. I don't know. Either or. Actually, yeah, I don't know if that's actually better. Because, you can't poison... Yeah, so now you can't spin against Steel types, right? And you can't poison types, but you still poison everything else. Yeah, I don't know. Would Glamora benefit from regular Rapid Spin more? I mean, it is decently fast, and if you got that spin off, like, you could try to run like a spin 3 attack set, which actually sounds kind of weird, but it could work in a draft league setting. Anyway, you also have Core Change as well, which technically, can be circumvented, because, you can just throw the rocks up again, and then it doesn't matter if they Core Change or not, both sides are going to have rocks. But, yeah, I think Cinderace, at least Core Change counts a little bit. And you can also move screens, which is also a nice perk. But yeah, I think this team is pretty solid. The setup is also pretty good. Yeah, I didn't mention that too much, but like Dragonite is just so good. It carries like half the category I was learning. And like, Cinderace now gets access to Swords Dance, which is actually if the Libero nerf didn't happen, that would be so goddamn cracked. But still has access to Swords Dance, which is still pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's about it for these rankings. Yeah, I will show the actual rankings now. Oh wait, hold on a second. I need to delete these notes because I don't want you guys looking at them. Okay. Anyways, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so these are the overall rankings. I will move this to this is a copy of the original sheet. So I will move this into the actual doc after this video releases, because I gotta milk those sweet views, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, right. Well, let's talk about what I think my rankings would be. So so for this rankings, these PRs, I want to be as objective as I can. So that's why I stick to these categories, even though they might not make sense most of the time. It's just how I want to I just want to keep myself objective. But I kind of want to start talking about what my personal thoughts are on these things. So yeah, let's talk about them. Actually, wait, let me make another column here. Okay, so this is the actual. I'm gonna have to expand that column a little bit. Okay, and this is my personal thoughts. So, first off, yeah, so I haven't actually put that much thought into this, but I just thought I was going to do. Okay, I know this is my team and all, but I honestly think my team is the best. I'm being honestly, a little bit biased here, but I think my team is probably the best team here. Feel free to disagree. Again, this is my personal opinion, but obviously I would think my team's good because I'm the one who drafted it. But I really think it is the best team here. I don't know. I don't know. But I honestly think it is pretty good. So I'm gonna shoot. What'd I do? Okay. So then where would I put Denver Diglets then? Okay, wait. You know, here's a much better way to do this. Let's clear these out. Just delete the column. Okay. So yeah, I think honestly my team is the best team. Yeah. And I think Dane Dugon's, I think it is last place. They do kind of maybe not deserve, but I think they are last place. What else do I think? I gotta start looking at these teams again. I think Denver Diglets is still a really solid team. I don't know if I would put it at second though. Who would my candidate be for second? I like Dubious Digital's team quite a bit, actually. And I like Verbig Venomous' pretty much too, but I don't know. I think Verbig Venomous, there's a lot of overlapping types, which might turn me off to it a little bit. Yeah, so I guess it would be a toss-up between Dubious Digitals and then the Denver Diglets here for a second. I think I'll put Dubious Digital second actually. So I really like that team. It looks very nice and balanced. We'll put Denver Diglets at third here. And let's see. Now this is probably the biggest tier jump. Am I gonna do it? Actually, I do recognize there's a lot of weaknesses with the Driftwood Labor scene, but I do like it a lot. I would probably put it 6th or 7th actually, instead of 4th or 5th, which I was originally kind of assuming I was going to put it there. I guess Bielefeld Bidus might probably 4th. I don't know. I just don't like this. Actually, no, I do like this team kind of. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think 4th is fine. And then after that. Okay, let's focus on the bottom, I guess, because I want to do that a little bit. Yeah, so Skep Glaceons. No, I think it's better than what the rankings give it. Because this team, it doesn't really take into account a lot of different things. So yeah, I would probably put Skep Glaceons at around 10th-ish, maybe. Well, I can't put it there because I need to know what's under them. I don't know. This is so hard to decide. I'm actually not a fan of Slovakian Slowbros team. Now I'm looking more at it. I'm kind of whatever about it. That might move down. Oh, I know what I'm gonna move. Yeah. You have every right to hate me. I just don't like this team. I'm sorry. I was pretending to like it, but I don't like it at all. Sorry in advance. But this is why the actual rankings are based off this and not my personal opinion. Because otherwise, there'd be a lot of people in pitchforks going after me. Texas Turtwigs. That seems like a middle. Like these all seem middling. Orbital Loopers. Let's look at that team. I like the structure of the team, kinda. I just realized it has no electric immunity. I didn't talk about that, right? I didn't talk about that. I don't know. This is actually really hard to rank. I definitely should have put some thought into this before just doing this topic. Okay, let's see here. So what do I think is fifth? Okay. Yeah, I need to start moving stuff out of the way so I can kind of get a feel for this stuff. I rank them. Okay, so what's in contention to be fifth here? I think Verbing Venomous. So yeah, okay. I'm kind of tossed up between these three for fifth to seventh. Which one would I rather use? Honestly, like none of them really appeal to me that much. This one appeals to me a lot, even though I know like you're basically locked into like the same 6 or 7 mons each week. I really like the build. I really like the look of this team. So I might honestly just put Driftwood Delicers on fifth. Yeah, we'll do that. I know it's a pretty big jump, but you know, this is just feel, man. After that, I think Verbing Venomous, yeah, I guess they didn't move at all. I do still think this is a very solid team, though. I mean, again, all teams are at least semi-solid. They're a partial state of matter. What's next? I didn't rank Texas Turtwigs. Yeah, I just don't like the look of the team. Apparently. No, I think they are definitely 7 for sure. Like, I can't put them down any more than that. So that leaves me with 5 more, right? That's 5. I can't count. Okay. I think Orbital Boopers is probably next. I would just like to play. I would just like to play with Shentel. Yeah, I actually do like this team. And Iron Moth seems pretty cool too. Oh my god, I can't copy. After that, I think this is the right. I think. Yeah, I like these two are like pretty similar teams, and I would give this one I give the Flipper Roads offense a little bit more credit just because of the type variants. Like I just don't want to play with like so many like things that I just like can't have a realistic check to. Like if Aerodactyl existed, this team would get washed by it. Well, that's not true. There's a Dondozo, but like you get what I mean, right? Like it's pretty bad matchup. And that leaves me with 2 more teams to rank, which are the Shadow Rattatas and the Slovakian Slowbros. Slovakian Slowbros actually fell off a lot. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the Sand team. I don't know. I don't think Houndstone is very good without Last Respects, obviously. I think it's pretty bad, so I don't really like it as a Sand Rusher. And he does have a pretty fun Firewater Grass core, I'm not gonna lie. And Sandy Shocks seems pretty fun. I guess I don't know. But at the same time, I really wanted to use like Mouse Hold and Annihilate. So I might just give that team a little bit more extra credit, yeah. So I think this would be my final tally. Okay, I'm gonna do like a differential category here. Just so you guys can visualize the. Oh, what the? Okay, hold on. just gonna do the difference in rankings. So we'll just do it from here. So plus. No, just I want the plus. What, backslash plus? Oh, that's not the right order. No, okay. I just can I have just Okay, we'll just do positive and negative. Okay, so Dubious Digitals went up +2. And the Denver Diglets went down -2. Philippidus -1. Fairfield Delibirds +5. Burbank Venomous 0. Texas Turtles. I should probably like pause the video, but I won't because I'm a lazy son bitch. Oof, -5. Wait. Yeah, no, that's right. And 0. So, yeah. So like this just kind of shows like there is actually a lot of variance in terms of where I like rank these teams personally versus the actual rankings here. So like, yeah, like for example, really like the feel of this team. Like, yeah, I mean, this is just a vibe check. And, you know, some teams passed the vibe check with flying colors and some of them didn't, right? So, you know, again, this is part of the reason why I just do these are the actual rankings. These are kind of bullshit. So, yeah. I'm glad if you stuck to the end of the video, I'm glad you listened to my bullshit. Anyways, I will put all these, I'll keep all these, I'll move all this into the sheet. As promised. I'll keep this stuff in here too, I guess, if you guys want to know it. And yeah, I think that's about it for this video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will try my very best to start uploading again. No promises though. And yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully very soon. I'll see you guys later. Peace.